Okay, hi everyone. Just give it a couple of minutes and we'll see if anyone else turns up. Today we're going to be looking at using math functionality, numbers and things like that in Pandorabots. Okay, so let's begin. So as usual, if you need to type anything in, there's a chat window on the right, so just feel free to use that. And right, let's see what we can do. So yeah, maths. Unfortunately, in AIML, it's a language-based programming structure, so it doesn't deal with maths unless you actually code it in there. So let's kind of show you an example of what you can do, because we can use sets and maps to do this kind of thing. So I'll just make one called math just for today. Okay. So let's say we want to work on addition. Yeah. So we need like a kind of like a master category to so that we can call something else. So let's just copy this in. There we go. Right. Now what this is saying is add two numbers together. Right. Now the way it works is it makes sure it's in a set, so it makes sure you're only adding numbers. Yeah. And then it will display back what it gets. I'll show you how it works. Basically, what it's doing though, it's just adding it up so many times, increasing the first number and decreasing the second number. To make more sense of that, let's say we wanted to work out what is 5 plus 3. Yeah. So we increase the left number, successor, that's just a map saying increase it by 1. Predecessor, the second number, so reduce it by 1. So you get 6, 2. Yeah. So do that again. 7, 1, 8, 0. Right, now because one of the numbers is 0, that must mean that this number, is the result, and it's correct. 5 plus 3 is 8. So what we need to do is just to check that one side of that becomes, the right-hand side of that, it becomes 0. So if we put that in, okay, so once that becomes 0, so like in our case, it'll be 8, 0, it'll display the answer. Okay, so let's give it a try. So if we say x add, and we'll say for xs7, hopefully that should come to 11. That's right, because it's done 4 and 5, 6, 7, 8, right up to 11, and the 7 there has just decreased all the way. Yeah. So that's how we can do it using sets and maps. So that's not too bad. Now, what the AIML Foundation is working on at the moment is a tag called calculate. Now, the kind of idea behind that is you'll be able to put in a kind of any kind of mathematical sum, calculate, I'll say, I don't know, 3 plus 4 or something like that. Yeah, and it'll do that for you. Rather than having to sort of code these categories and patterns yourself, we're trying to work on something like that. So that's how you do, addition. As I say, this will only work on Pandorabots because they're the only ones that have this successor and predecessor map built in. If you're using AIML2 on a different type of interpreter, you're going to have to code your own versions of these in. So let's say, for example, there we go. So like 1 goes on to 0 goes to 1, 1 to 2, 2 to 3. Yeah. So what you can do, rather than using like successor, if you use test or whatever it is you've called it, you can now do x add 2, xs 3, 5. Yeah, but bear in mind it's only going to work for really small numbers because we've only coded up to 5 and 6. So Pandorabots does all that for you, as I say, with predecessor and successor. So I'll just put that back in. Yeah. Now it's unlikely users are going to say x add 4 xs7 because that's just nonsense. So what you're probably best doing is throw in a few categories in there. What is star plus star? Yeah. So 3 out to x add star xs star index equals 2 if you spell it right. Yeah. So it's hard, more likely that the user's going to say, what is 5 plus 8 or something like that? 13. Yeah, so just raise down to it like that. So as well as addition, we've got subtraction as well. So let's just make a category for that. So that's going to work in, pretty much the same way. But this time, all we're doing is just taking one away, taking a number away from it instead of adding it on and then checking for 0. So let's say someone says, I don't know, 5 take away 3. Yeah. So let's just get rid of that. So the first part says, right, predecessor, that one. Okay, so 4, and then predecessor, this one as well. Okay, 2. So do it again. Yeah. 2, 0. Yeah, now we've reached a 0, 2. Yeah, so 5 take away 3 must be 2. So we need to check that we've hit the sort of 2 mark there, hit the 0 mark. So we can do that by this. So once one of them gets to 0, displays the number. Yeah. Different with subtraction though is you may get someone saying, what is 2 minus 5 or something like that. So you need to check that the 0 is not on the other side as well. If it is, it's a negative number. Yeah. So as an example, let's say, what is 3 minus 5? Okay, so that becomes, remember just taking one away from each side, so that becomes 2 and 4, 1 and 3, 0 and 2. Right, now we're in trouble because we can't take any more from 0, so it must be negative 2. So 3 take away 5 is negative 2. Yeah, so let's try that. So it's the same kind of format. So x sub 5, excess 3, 2. That's right. So excess, let's try 5, excess 7. Yeah, minus 2. That's right. So you see it's become a minus number there. So that's how you can do kind of like addition and subtraction. Now, what is really useful, if you go into the help area, into the FAQ, there are some AIML libraries. Now, one of these is called, this one is Standard Library AIML. And now this is really good because what it's going to do is, it does all this for you. I've just extracted a bit of it there. But it does, maths and additions and strings equal to random numbers, all this kind of thing. And it's really worth putting in. So it's freely available. So it's just available here. Yeah. So just go in there. Yeah, it's all the standard library stuff's in there. Yeah, so I would highly recommend you grab a copy of that, and then you're not going to have to replicate everything that I've kind of done. So I've got a copy of it there. Yeah, so it's, really handy stuff like that. Right, one I'll show you as well as addition and subtraction, is multiplication. Okay, so this time, how we're going to do a multiplication? Let me just type in the category. Okay, so basically, all the multiplication is adding up a number a certain amount of times. So let's say we wanted 4 multiplied by 3. Okay, so what it's saying is add 4 to itself. So that's 8, and that becomes 2, and 12, and 1. Yeah, so once we've hit the 1, that's it. We've reached our limit. So 4 multiplied by 3 is 12. So let's just get that. So we need to test. Right, so yeah, so what we're doing, let me just explain that again. So 4 multiplied by 3. So what it does, first of all, it adds on 4 to itself. So first number is 4, which becomes 2, 8, which becomes 1, 12, which becomes 0, 0 matches. So we've finished. So let's just try that. X mul, we'll say 3 excess 4. It works. Is it going to work? Let's try. Let's add 2 excess 4. Oh, there we go. It took its time, but it's done it. There we go. So x mul 3, 3 times 4 is 12. Yeah. So it's kind of done it there. Oh, it seems to be on a bit of a go slow at the moment. So yeah, all it's doing is just adding up that number, adding up 3 4 times. Yeah. Now you can do the same with division as well. The only problem with division is that you may not get that whole number. So if I show you on the standard library for division, there we go. Right. So what that's telling us, it's a little more complicated this time, but it's saying, you know, take away a number until it becomes less than 0. It's there if you want to kind of like work your way through it, but it's sort of like saying if anyone says like divide by 0, it doesn't work and things like that. So there's a kind of way of sort of showing you how it works. Let's say we want to do 12 divided by 3. Okay, so first of all we take away 3, so that means 9. Have a count of that is 1. Take another 3 is 2. Take another 3 is 3. Take another 3. Well, that's it. We've finished. Is 4. So 12 divided by 3 is 4. Yeah. So that's the kind of way you can do something like maths and things like that. What saving that? As I say, make a look note of the AIML standard library. There's all kinds of good stuff in there, and you can kind of do it like that. Now, these are really useful. If you're not using AIML 2, I would strongly advise you do, simply because of this maps function and sets. Yeah. I was always a bit loath to move to AIML 2, but you know, using these things, it's just saved me a ton of work. And I think I explained in a previous video, I'll just show you again. Before, I had to kind of code everything itself. So these are all my kind of SRAYs, and how I had to do it, because there's no maps. Yeah, you see, I've had to kind of code every number. Yeah, so I kind of did it up to, I think I did it up to, yeah, 9999. But it's a real pain. Yeah, no, I mean, there's like 10,000 lines of code there that, you know, I don't need. And like even with these, like the numbers, the names, you know, you can map them, map a number, numbering words to the number itself, and you're saving all kinds of problems. And because there's, you know, there's no sound like predecessor and things like that, you know, I'm having to work out all this kind of thing, like break up a, you know, decrease hundreds and take away the 5s and all this kind of thing. You know, it was absolutely painful. And so there's a ton of code there that does the same as what we can actually do in, you know, just 3 or 4 statements like that. So I hope that's useful for maths. As I say, it's unlikely anyone's going to say xadd, so use these as kind of like functions and just sort of stray out to things like that, because it's more likely to do stuff like that. So, you know, the sort of things that someone might ask as well. That's I have so many apples and eat so many. How many do I have? Yeah, let's try that. So you could say something that will leave, oops, and then stray out x sub star x star index equals 2. All right, let's see if this works. Bit of live coding, so you never know. So I have 5 apples and eat 3. How many do I have? Hey, there we go. Right, that will leave 2 apples. You know, that's the sort of thing that people like to test your bots about, and especially if you're entering into competitions and things. You know, these are the sort of things that people will ask. So yeah, just a few sort of like utilities there that hopefully you'll find useful. See, there's no questions in the chat box, so I think we'll call that a day. If you need anything or got any questions for the next session, just use the link that's in the description at the bottom. That way I can sort of prepare them for next week, or you know, answer them directly to you. So yeah, hope you've enjoyed the session, and I'll see you next time. Bye for now.